Okay, I'm here with Francis, who is from Haiti but moved here when he was 2 years old.
Moved to the Bahamas when I was 2. I moved here when I was 4.
Four.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about being from Haiti in terms of the current situation in the USA. How do you feel as a Haitian descent man now?
About what's going on in the United States.
Yes, starting with like the Haitians eat the dogs, eat the cats, the fear mongering, the ICE agents. How do you
It's
like?
it's first of all, I just want to preface it by saying, and we shared earlier, my take on politics is totally different. But getting right to your question, it's nothing new. It's nothing new. So, I'm not a fan of this administration, but a lot was put on them. And the fact that I heard black people here acting in, oh my God, I can't believe you guys were saying that back in the 80s that we ate dogs, we ate cats, and we stink, and so it was nothing, it wasn't shocking to me. Now it's nationwide. Everybody is hearing about this, but that was nothing new here. So that didn't really, upset me. I wasn't upset. I heard it all my life. You know what I mean? What did upset me is what's upsetting me now is how Haitians are being targeted and being, deported to a country that you wouldn't send your worst enemy back. You know what's going on. And the Biden Haitians, they came over, they were provided certain rights, to better their lives, like we were when back in the 70s. You know what I mean? So they got here legally, and for a government or an administration to terminate those rights and send them back to a country that's worse now than it was when they got here, you're just sending them to basically die. You see what's going on there. The administration is trying. They have every day. They know that the gangs are really running that country. You saw a president get assassinated 2 or 3 years ago. Drugs in the country is in upheaval. So you're gonna, as a humanitarian, somebody who says you're human, regardless of rights, you're gonna send people back there. So there is this, not just hate. This, I don't know how to put it into words, but there's a lack of empathy. There's a lack of care. There's a lack of there's this power, this not just fear mongering, and that's part of it too. I'll get into that, but because we can, you need, we only want Americans here. We only, and eventually it's gonna be blacks. You know what I mean? We only want pure white. And the sad thing about it, most of the folks making the decisions, they aren't really pure white Americans. You know what I mean? They're all 90% of this country are immigrants. So to see them target this group of Haitians, and not just Haitian, but other groups, but Haitians in particular, it's really sad, and there's so much fear in our communities now. Haitians, they're scared to take their kids to school. They won't go to teacher parent night because of the fear. My brother, and God bless you, brother, he perpetuates some of that. He sent a group chat. We have a family group chat, and he's like, "Oh, be careful now, because the banks are shut. If you're an immigrant or if you're not a citizen, they're closing your account. They're freezing your account so you won't have access to money." And I'm like, that can't be true.
No, it's not.
It's not true, but these are some of the things that we take from social media. And he is, I tell him, stay off of social media, because the news that he's getting, and he gets triggered easily. He gets triggered and he shares. I'm like, stop sharing false information, because this is what put fear in some of our, Haitians already. They already fear because they're here. Some of them may be here illegally, but they're here trying to make a new life for themselves. But there's a real fear in our communities, and I think he enjoys it. I'm glad they finally put us into this Alcatraz, alligator Alcatraz. What, I don't know how they approve that, but that just shows you the country, the world that we live in, the country that we live in right now, that you would justify putting human beings in a cage on, let's send them as far away as possible. Where is humanity? Where is our humanity? I don't see it. So that's why, again, I was sharing with you that we have to start our own movement of self-care. It has to, because if we depend on our political process, on our local politicians even, you won't find the peace starts within yourself. I do, I don't want to get on a spiritual realm, but I know we're here to talk about politics. But politics now is it's at its worst. And if you watch the news, if you watch the media, I know you have to know what's going on. I was just talking to a colleague, and she lives in Aventura, and she said she has to watch to know what's going on in this world. I said, but it's so depressing. It's so depressing. I make my own reality. You can choose to make your, oh, but you have to think about the others. I do, but unfortunately, not saying, because I used to be that guy. I used to, like I said, NAACP, on the front line. I'm fighting for injustice. And at the end of the day, you know what I mean? It's just, you get worn down. Your energy is drained from fighting and fighting, and the people you're fighting for don't even appreciate it, and you lose your inner peace. So I've had to take it back to, I don't know if you ever read this book, Think Like a Monk,
No,
Jay Shetty.
I like the title already.
Think Like a Monk. Pick it up. It focuses on inner healing, inner peace. So I start from myself, my family, my own household. I'm a community advocate. I help youth. I control what I can control. I make the changes in that I want to see in this world from the inside out. So every Saturday I have a group of kids that we take to different. We just came back from Ghana with a group of African American kids who've never been outside of Miami. We took, so these are the changes that I'm happy. So when people are like, oh, how are you? I'm great. This, life is wonderful because I control the change that I want to see in this world. It starts with us.
But you do notice the danger in which your community is right
Very
now.
much so. Very much so. I'm not naive. I'm not covering. I don't have blinders on. I will not let this guy win twice. I will not let their administration continue to rule by fear. That's what they want. They don't want you living a normal life. And I know you said, the martial law and military walking around. You can't allow this administration. He already stole the election. I'm going to say it.
I think so too.
Yeah, he already,
Elon.
with Elon, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? He already said, and I've seen so many documentaries. My brother would send me like, look, we know it. Rachel Maddow had this wonderful documentary about his connection to Russia and the Ukraine. And we know, and it came out on the eve of the election, and I told my brother, this isn't going to change anything. We know the truth. The truth really doesn't matter. Truth doesn't matter in this country anymore. So what are you going to do about that? When truth stands for nothing, what are you going to do? You have to do something.
You do your own
you have
thing.
to protect your own peace. You have to protect your own peace, control your circle, and then move out. Because if you look again from a macro perspective, if you try to change from a macro perspective, you'll end up with a heart attack, with high blood pressure. But you can get peace and happiness when you change things that are immediately in your control.
Yeah, that's why I started my political channel just to talk to Polish people about American politics like 4 months ago, because I had to do something. I had to
Yes.
put my energy somewhere.
Yes,
So
yes.
these are the steps we can take.
That is perfect. That is self-healing, but also healing others through while you're healing at the same time.
Thank you so much for meeting me for a fast conversation.
Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to working together again. I'm really looking forward to this interview.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Francois.
Thank you, Alex.
I'm sorry, Francis.
Francis Francois, I know. My parents. Mom and Dad, that was very lazy of you. Interesting thing enough, if you have a minute. So when I was in school, I was teased. First of all, Francis is a co-ed, bisexual, co-ed name. But Francis Francois, my name would always be mispronounced. People would pick on me because of my name. Not only I was Haitian, but I was Francis Francois. But when I got older, now the lady said, wow, that's such a sexy name. Francis Francois. So I started Francis Francois. That's
With that voice.
With the voice.
Francis
Francois. Yes. International star.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex. Let's get out of this.
Yeah. Oh my freaking God.